and welcome to the premiere episode of Steven and Kori featuring Get It Together. I'm Steven.
And I'm Kori.
Awesome. We've got an exciting show for you guys, our premiere show.
Yeah, let's talk about why we're doing this show.
Absolutely.
Okay? So a little bit about us. We've been married 40 years. We've known each other
42 years. Yeah.
Bravo for us, fist bump.
Yes.
And, you know, we like each other. Okay, so that's number one in a marriage.
Sometimes I don't like her, actually.
Yeah, I always like him because he's perfect.
Oh, right.
Right? Okay, yeah, he's perfect. Anyway.
I am, by the way.
Yeah. And so because we've been married 40 years and known each other 42, we've also been in ministry for 30 years. We worked with young marrieds. We've worked with senior marrieds. We call it second season marrieds, meaning we're in our second season.
Yeah, we're actually empty nesters.
Yay, we made it, people. We made it. And also we worked with young adults who were looking to get married.
Yeah, absolutely.
So this Get It Together up here, together with each other, is about preparing yourself for marriage, or either when you're in marriage,
right,
you want to have a cohesive relationship.
Yeah, because getting it together actually starts with you, getting yourself together first. Because if you can't get yourself together, how are you going to be able to get together with someone else, meaning your spouse?
Right. And so, and in doing that, guess what? If you have children, they're watching you. We have two children. We're two adult children. Like I said, we're empty nesters, and they like us.
Yeah.
So if you can accomplish that, whoa, bravo to you.
Yeah, we raise those kids. They have finally flown out of the nest, and they're staying out. That's another thing. Sometimes...
It's been out for almost 20 years.
Oh, yeah.
Almost 10 years? 10. She's been out for a while. The other one's been out for a couple of years now. And, they love coming home. This is also about the marriage relationship that your children see, because a lot of times they duplicate you. So you want to make sure you're in line with each other so that you can set up another generation of being in line.
Exactly. During this podcast, we're gonna hit a lot of different areas. There's so many things out there that people are saying, and a lot of times in this type of scenario, you have just the female talking and you get their perspective, or you just have the male talking and you get their perspective. Rarely do you have both.
Yeah, I don't understand that. If you're going to sit there and talk to couples, shouldn't you be a couple?
Yeah,
I don't get that. So we're going to be talking about your marriage relationship through your career, through our careers. My career, do you guys know what a SAH is? That's a stay-at-home mom. So that was my career. And in between, I get little jobs here and there just to make some extra dough for me. I play money, and it was fun. I can tell you, stay-at-home moms, if you don't understand that you have a career and you're sitting at home going, I don't know what else I could do. I'm just raising kids. Raising a life is huge.
We actually made a decision early on in our marriage that, once we started having kids, that, you would be a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah, as soon as we made the decision and I was pregnant, I was like, okay, I can quit. I need to prepare for the baby.
Right, yeah.
But, I loved a career, but I loved raising children as our career.
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking about our relationship, as well as how you go through a relationship in your careers, mastering your career and mastering your relationship.
Yeah, essentially, it's interesting because essentially you seem to get one shot. Basically, you got a one shot, build a marriage, build a family, build your career and relationship, that kind of thing.
And we have been through numerous
moves.
Numerous transitions and
Because I was climbing the corporate ladder and changing jobs, changing companies.
And that affects a marriage big time if you allow it to affect it negatively, or you can look at it as a positive. Also, traveling international as much as he did, sometimes he wasn't home for like a month.
Yeah.
And then I have to take that mantle off of being, the lead in the household and hand it back to him when he's been gone. That can be a struggle in a marriage also.
Absolutely.
So we're going to be discussing that, and we're going to be discussing things we wish we knew when we were really married. So, we want you to contribute to that too. This is a transparent area. This is for everyone to contribute. We are going to be able to take your questions.
We have several questions already from focus groups that we've done.
This is our question box.
Yeah, this is our magic box.
When we open the magic question box, it's going to be live.
Yeah.
And one thing we are going to be is real raw.
Yeah.
We're going to put it out there.
A lot of times these kind of things, people want to tend to be a little bit what we call PC, politically correct. And there may be a lot of things that we are politically correct on, but there's going to be a lot of things that we're going to let you have it. And we're going to give you our personal experiences, and we also are going to be able to give you other, pieces of information. We have an exciting topic that we're actually going to get into during this podcast. It's what we're calling the silent pandemic. The silent pandemic, right?
And when you're getting it together, everything you discuss has to be transparent, has to be real. And this silent pandemic is a real thing that's happening. We're not telling you what it is yet because we want to just let you understand that where we're coming from, where who we are as Steven and Kori, and why we had a desire. People had told us, you should put on a show. You should do a podcast. You should. We're like, really? I mean, what are we saying? No, you have great information and you have the experience and you've worked with other people in ministry and outside of ministry. We have a life coaching business. We're like, okay, we're going to do this. But if we're going to do this, we're going to do this.
Well, and there's a lot of things go on, in marriage. If you want to be totally transparent about these things, which we said we're going to be. And one of the things that typically comes up that I have found, being married is like, why is it that this person that you love more than anyone, this is the one person that can make you more angry than anyone else? This woman, this woman has made me more angry than, it's incredible. Now, I'll tell you, when you get that kind of upset and angry, what you need to do, guys, I'm just talking from my perspective, walk away. Clear your head.
But why would you get angry? Because you care about the person. If he didn't care about me, you go, I don't care what she does. I mean, he's not going to get on my nerves. And same thing with him. I say he's perfect, but he's really not. And he does get on my nerves. But that's part of the growth, right? That's the elastic in the band that you got to snap back and you got to be able to handle it. So we're going to be also covering nuts and bolts on how to do that. We're going to be covering strategies and things that we've been through ourselves and things that we've coached other people on. So we're looking at our little notes here. We have here that, sometimes you just need to talk. And sometimes you just need to ask the questions. So as relationship gurus, which we're known to be relationship gurus, we love to hear people discuss things and open up, because the more you talk, as long as you're talking from your heart and the depth, the deeper you go, you find the root of the cause. So we're going to be getting into some silent pandemic root causes of the silent pandemic. Do you want to go ahead and tell them about that?
So the silent pandemic, getting back to that, which is our topic on this episode, the silent pandemic, what is it? What is it? What is it, honey?
Sexless marriages.
Oh my.
Sexless marriages.
Sexless marriages? You got to be kidding me.
No. And as I said, you got to, what do you do to the sheets?
You got to burn up the sheets. Folks, what we're seeing, and we got data to support this, you guys, are not burning up the sheets. These sheets are getting cold.
That's right. You got to heat the sheets. And I'll tell you what, just because you're in lockdown doesn't mean you lock down your sexuality,
Absolutely.
Because you're in lockdown.
Y'all need to be getting it on. Y'all need to be getting it on. And by the way, if you are currently involved in some semblance of a sexless marriage, it's never going to get right until you take the personal responsibility and understand that if your marriage has gone cold, at least in the bedroom, it's your fault.
And some people go, well, where did we get there? How did we get to a sexless marriage? Yes, the pandemic happened. So in the course of the pandemic, what happened in your relationship? Maybe you spent too much time together, Maybe you got on each other's nerves because you were stuck in a house.
Or maybe you're just not attracted to each other anymore from a sexual point of view. I mean, I will tell you something. Some of you guys, maybe you have gotten a beer belly or you've got a food belly, some kind of whatever.
I'll tell you. And there was one point in our marriage where
No, we can't say that. You can't tell them that, but go ahead.
There was one point in our marriage when our girls were on the beach. We were all on the beach, and one of our daughters came and said,
"Man boobs.
You have boobs.
Man boobs."
He was like, that's never going to happen.
No.
Literally, But it's a reality. Women, you get the belly, and you're like, well, I had babies, so I deserve a belly. No, you don't. No, you don't. Eat right.
Exactly.
And find out these are all little things that accumulate. When you're home together all the time, not only do you see all the little quirks because you're not out there socializing and stepping back, when you see the little quirks, it becomes more irritating and more irritating. And when you get irritated, usually you need a tune-up. I'm going to let him tell you what a tune-up is, because I needed tune-ups in our marriage.
Exactly. There's many times in our marriage where she's just cranky. I'm like, you know what? You just need a tune-up. And we get in there and, we do the right thing.
We're having sex, people.
Hit it hard. She comes back all lovey-dovey. Oh, honey, baby, what's going on?
What I need. It's true. Men, you need a tune-up too. Sometimes you're just cranky and you just get calloused over. And it's like, wives, just turn it on. Say, baby, come here. come here, let me take care.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know? And before you know it, he's just like, oh, I'm feeling like Jello.
Yeah.
You know, so they need it. They need it. So there's a phrase that we use a lot called making love.
Yeah. I don't agree with that, actually, by the way.
And let me tell you.
I think it should be called making pleasure, right?
But let me tell you what making love is. Hold my hand.
Yes.
This is making love. You can sit on the couch and just hold hands. It's making a form of love. Now, if you do it naked, even better. But, you know, you can sit on the couch and just hold hands. You can just be together, and that's making an element of love in the relationship. Now, making pleasure, that includes the body.
And if you don't think, by the way, many things we say are coming, in some cases will come from maybe rooted and grounded in Judeo-Christian philosophy. But the point is that we want to talk about one thing, and that is, if you don't think that our Creator wanted us to have pleasure, then why? You know, the female, by the way, has an organ in her body that serves really no other purpose but to give her pleasure. And you guys know what that is.
You better find your husband's pleasure zone.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't know. You don't know until you talk about it.
And if you're in a sexless marriage because of the pandemic, this is the time to stir it up. This is the time to get funky and fun. And this is the time to, you know, just shake up the relationship.
Right.
I will tell you this, that, again, communication, having the conversation saying, you know what, I just don't feel like it. Why don't you feel like having sex? Because, you know, I'm just tired. Well, get past the tired. Take a nap, go for a walk, whatever it is. But you have to, sometimes you have to schedule your relationship, your sexual pleasure.
Right.
If you're going into it as pleasure, it's so much more exciting as opposed to, do you want to make love? Do you want to have sex?
Yeah, come on.
You know, but if it's like,
sometimes you need to be impromptu. Yeah. You need to be impromptu about
do you want to just play around, you know, and see where this goes? Yeah. You could fall asleep, but at least you had fun trying, you know. That's the fun of it. So there are times in your marriage where you are going to have to do a job.
Yeah.
Do you know what a job is when you're married and you're causing sexual pleasure, or you're developing sexual pleasure? That could be a hand job, that could be your mouth, that could be a blow job. You're gonna have to work. Okay, you're just gonna have to work. A job is a job. And sometimes it's like, oh, I don't want to do it. Well, if your partner likes it, you may have to learn to like it, or you may have to figure out why your partner likes it. And I will tell you this, there are many times, you women out there, you don't want to get hair in your teeth. Right? You're just like, I don't want that. You know, just get your floss, put it on the side of the bed, and go to work, you know, because it is a pleasure for your spouse. It could be the man who's doing it.
Called oral. That's called oral. Okay.
Yes. So, and that's a good thing, because again, the scripture says the marriage bed is undefiled. Yeah. You two are in there together. It didn't say bring an animal. It didn't say bring another partner. It said the two of you. Right. It's undefiled. You're as long as you're not hurting each other, this is the time to do experiment and have fun. I will also go back to, if you're newly married and you went through the sexless, if you're through the silent pandemic and you went through a sexless marriage, that's a question. You're newly married. You guys should be bumping and grinding like all the time. I will tell you, when Steve and I were newly married, we were late for everything.
She's giving away our secrets.
Oh my gosh, we had sex all the time. It's like, you ready? Oh yeah. I mean, you get in the, sometimes we didn't even make it into the house, you know, but I'm just saying, I can tell you this, we would go to church. We were late for church every Sunday. Yeah. And we were in a smaller church.
That's because she was attacking me.
I was horny. And so I was attacking.
When does that stop? Why does that stop?
So then our pastor, because it was a smaller church, he'd see us walking in and he'd go, oh, there's Steven and Kori. They're late again. He didn't even say they're late again because everybody knew we were newlyweds. And you know what I did? I was like, bet your bottom dollar, we're late and we're going to be late again.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
It's enjoyable. And I will tell you this, a lot of times older couples, when they see a young couple that's in love and they're late for things, they just smile because they can remember that. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing to be late for sex.
But you know, it's interesting. It's interesting that it's so interesting how you go from being red hot like that to just stone cold. Yeah. I was talking to a friend of mine recently and telling him a little bit about this podcast we're going to be doing. And he was like, Steven, you're right. I mean, I'm right there in my marriage. It's like, and we started talking about, you know, what causes that. And he says, and he literally said to me, Steven, but it's just too much work to be romantic. But I got to tell you guys, you know, I think that is one of the things that, you know, our wives, you know, they desire is that romance. And no one's to say it has to be always that kind of situation, but
go ahead.
Yeah. So my point is that every now and then, you just need to do it. You don't have to be all the, you know, pomp and circumstance, but you have to realize that you got to do it because it's important.
Absolutely. And I will say this also, that when you're in that mode of, oh, no, try an oldie but goodie.
Yeah.
Whatever it was that you guys did at the beginning, say, we haven't done that in a while.
Yeah.
We need to try that again.
Yeah.
Or, create new ideas and new thoughts about what is it that we can do. Now, here's one thing. If you are a virgin and you get married, like you've never had sex before, and you marry a partner who has, okay, that partner should be like a coach and a trainer to you. This is what we're going to do. Honey, let me turn you on. I don't know if it's male or female, but that partner has a responsibility to please you and teach you how to be pleased and please them. Yeah. Okay? Because you don't know.
I remember the first time that she had the big O, she didn't know what happened to her.
I was like, what is that? He's like, that's an orgasm. I said, no, it's not. I've never experienced anything like that again before. And I was like, Doug, another one. Let's do it around 2, round 3. Oh my gosh, you can keep having it. That was like phenomenal.
Yeah, so, that's not fair. The ladies get to have multiple.
I know.
Multiple.
God really looked on us.
Yeah, right.
Pleasure zone, and we get to have multiple orgasms. Hey, we are special. So again, if you have the experience and your partner doesn't, it's up to you to help them with the experience, you know? Yeah. And if you both come from previous relationships, don't bring that relationship into your bed.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, you may have done some things with somebody else before and you liked it. That's okay because you have it's not okay because you're not bringing the person in, but you have your partner now and you're like, I really like this. I felt like this before and I really like this. I like the way I feel and I think you're going to like this also. That's kind of like a little bonus track.
Yeah.
But don't bring the other person into your relationship.
But what if you had premarital sex and maybe you met with someone who was a little bit better than your spouse?
Well, in that case, you're going to have to deal with that because you've allowed yourself, if you're going to have premarital sex, just understand you're bringing every experience with you. And when you get married, you have all of that experience. Now, if your spouse can't equal that, that's on you because you put yourself there. Or guess what? You could be a coach and trainer and say, hey, I'm going to whip you into shape because I know what this is going to feel like for you and for me. So I would say that, yeah.
So I've got a few stats for you here that I'm going to read to you real quick. So according to a survey conducted by Kinsey Institute at Indiana University, 38% of people reported a decrease in their sexual frequency during the pandemic. Yeah. That's a pretty interesting, compelling stat, 38%.
And again, it's about getting yourself prepared. You may have to get in the mood. You may have to have a glass of wine. You may have to put on essential oils. You may have to rub each other down with the oils,
Now that would be interesting.
Put music on, do some dancing.
Exactly. Set the mood, people.
Yeah, relax your mind, especially if you're stressed. You're like, okay, I'm going into this.
And guys, bring some flowers from time to time. It just doesn't have to be Valentine's Day.
Get those flowers, lay them across her body.
Yeah.
So you just have to be creative.
Get the whipped cream out.
Get the whipped cream out. Get some chocolate chip. No, chocolate hard. Anyway, but I'm seriously, you create the environment that you expect to walk into. And again, if you say, well, I'm too tired, you got to get past that. You got to work through that. Yeah. Because this is not a chore. This is a pleasure.
Sure.
It's a pleasure. And once you get past,
make pleasure instead of making love. Make pleasure.
I said I was cankerous and,
no, she was cantankerous.
Yeah, cantankerous. Yes.
Yes.
Here's
right.
the thing. Sometimes you need a tune-up and you don't know it. You both need a
Exactly.
tune-up. It's like, okay, we're the only mechanics in here, so we're going to have to tune each other up. Yeah.
Right. So here's another one. So a survey conducted by the sex toy company Lilo found that 64% of couples recorded a decrease in frequency during the pandemic. 64%. Now, this is the sex toy company. Yeah. They do these things because they want to know what kind of little trinkets you guys need to...
Let me tell you something. If you need a sex toy, that's fine. Just make sure... I had, we're going into our experience, but
that's okay.
I do want to tell you guys, we had a pastor's wife seminar. So the pastor's wife did a seminar for a women's seminar, and she said something so profound that I really enjoyed. And my daughter went with me.
Right.
And she said, I will never use anything to replace my husband. So if you have a sex toy, that's fine, but don't have it replace your husband, because you could be going at it all day and he comes home and you're like, I'm finished, I'm good, I'm taking a nap. And he's like, whoa, what happened? You don't want to replace your spouse. However, if you bring that toy into your sexual pleasure lifestyle with your husband, he may enjoy it too. Yeah. So again, a toy is not a bad thing. It's not a replacement. You never want to replace your spouse because you don't want to, I please myself, I'm good. That's not a relationship. As a matter of fact, that's an insult to your spouse when you're sitting there going, I can please myself, I don't need you. Well, then you have no sexual love or no sexual experience with the other person because you're experiencing it all by yourself.
Right. You know, and sometimes too, there's situations in marriages a lot of times, and unfortunately, this is something that I think females learn along the way. But there's a lot of women that we would call weaponize their sexuality, meaning that maybe their husband made them upset, they got mad about something, and you both get into bed and it's like things are ice cold. It's like you go to your side, he goes to his side, neither the feet should even touch, and so that's something that doesn't, you can't. It doesn't fix itself. You guys have to work on that to fix that. You have more stats for us?
I do. I like this one. I mean, it's sad, but it's interesting. Globally, according to Sexual Medicine, 41.3% of married couples surveyed in Kenya reported that they were sexually dissatisfied during the pandemic, whereas 26.6% reported that they were dissatisfied even prior to the pandemic. So 26.6 before the pandemic, prior to the pandemic, and 41.3.
It's a big number.
That's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge. So this was a survey in Kenya, but just think about worldwide what this pandemic has done to relationships.
Exactly.
Serious stuff. Also, according to the Center for Intimate Relationships, did you know there was a Center for Intimate Relationships? There is a Center for Intimate Relationships. There was a significant increase in requests for couples counseling, specifically regarding sexual concerns such as being in a long distance relationship and not having access to the partner. That was huge in the pandemic, right? Yeah. Afraid to get physically close when one partner works in a public setting. I mean, the mask, and I don't want to, I don't know, I don't cough, don't sneeze. I don't know what you're going to give me, That's when you just don't worry about the mouth. Go everywhere else on the body.
Yeah. Amen to that.
No private time at home because kids are always present. Yeah, we all love our kids, but you guys need to get away. You know what? Exactly. I would say go in a closet, Yeah. Go in the bathroom. Mommy and Daddy are in the bathroom. Do a Mile High Club in your house, in the bathroom, And then no boundaries between work and home because work now happens at home. We talked about that before. Yeah. Being sucked into the black hole of social media for hours on end.
Imagine that. People want to scroll through social media versus being intimate.
Yeah, they're laying in bed next to each other and they're not having sex, but yet they're awake and they're watching TV on their phone or they're going into social media and looking at Facebook posts of other people having a good time, and they could be like having a good time. It's crazy, but it's a reality. I say it's crazy, but it is a reality.
And we promised to be a little bit raw, so I'm going to transition here a little bit and give you a little bit of where we're coming from. You can't be married for 40 years and not go through dry spells yourself.
You know what a dry spell is?
Dry spell is
sexless marriage.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You and somebody probably listening to this podcast, well, what about you guys? Well, you know what? Yes, we have had those moments and those times where there was no sex, primarily because she kept telling me no. Oh, I don't want to. I don't want to. Whatever.
Yeah, and I will say this: when you go through menopause and andropause, andropause is menopause for men. You go through emotional changes, your body changes. Again, you don't feel attractive.
Guys, she doesn't feel even attracted to herself, let alone feeling attracted to you. So she's clamping down.
So even if you see her not looking as attractive as she used to, find something, because women are more sensitive to that. Men, I'm not saying you're not sensitive, because men are sensitive to the way they look also. Yeah. But you have to compliment each other for where you're at. And that time frame and I'm going to tell you, it comes in spurts. There's dry seasons. It's not like, oh, for 2 years we went through dry seasons. It was just so hard. We've been married 40 years, people. This is going, it's a roller coaster. It's a heartbeat. It's a heartbeat. Yeah, it's life, real life. And so you're going to have ups and downs. Just know that when you're in a dry season, you got to work through it. And you got to figure out how to work through it. So
exactly.
Some of the things that we did to work through it was we played games. Yeah. We went dancing. We would sit back and we'd have a glass of wine together.
Yes. And put on some romantic music.
Music, yeah. Some people, we didn't do this, but some people, you know what? They like sexual movies. And I'm going to tell you something. If you have an addiction or you have...
I think you call that pornography.
Or you call it, what's 50 Shades of Grey?
Yeah.
That's unrated, but it's like soft porn.
Yeah.
And if you have addictive personality and you get addicted to anything, I would highly not recommend porn or soft porns like the 50 Shades of Grey that's in the movie theaters. I didn't see it because I have him. He's my 50 Shades of Grey. But, you know, truly I would not bring that into the marriage.
Yeah, if you have an addictive behavior, that's probably not a good thing. So we're not suggesting you that it's wrong. We're just saying, you know, you guys got to do it.
Watch what you take in, because here's the other thing. Those are actors. Yeah. Nobody feels the way they feel, even when they're in the process of, whether it's pornography or a movie that's in the movie theaters. They're all acting. Yeah. So you're going to expect that from your spouse, and you're going to go, I didn't feel that way. They didn't either. They're getting paid. Some might not be getting paid. I don't know. But don't put your perspective or your expectations in porn.
That's right.
In your house.
That's right.
Your marriage, because it's just not real. It's just not real.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So now I got to tell you, we actually have some questions that have come in, and we want to let you know that this whole podcast is we want to co-create a community for open discussion, frank questions. We want you guys to be able to click down below if you're getting some value from this, and also in your comments, any questions that you might have that you can send. We do have, this is a trusty box here. We've got some questions that have come in from our focus groups as we were preparing to launch this. And so we will get into some of that and address some of those questions that you have, some things that you've asked us. So
okay, so we're opening up the question.
We're opening up the question box. Shake it up a little bit there.
Like your marriage, shake it up. Okay.
Now again, these are questions that have come in, and we're just going to pull these things at random. What? Yeah, go ahead and pull one. Okay.
All right. Is foreplay really important? I'm always ready to go, and my wife says I rush too much. Yeah, foreplay is important. It is. Men and women, everybody.
That's too much work, isn't it, guys?
Everybody, and granted, it is work. Always be necessary. I mean, there have been times in our marriage we're pulling the car over. We're like, let's just do it in the car. You know, we're ready. I mean, we heard a song, or we just finished. Like we love listening.
I love it when she gets fired up like that, folks.
I'm like, balconies. We've been.
It needs to be every day, right, guys? Every day.
However, foreplay. Well, let me say this. I will give you an example. We went away to a spa, okay, and we had our couples massages and everything, and it was a great experience. And it wasn't anything about romance; it was just fun. Yeah. And then we went to dinner. We had wine, quite a few glasses of wine, and we're walking up to our room. We're like, let's take the stairs instead of the elevator. Do you know? Right there on the staircase. I'm like, hey, ain't nobody around, you know? And then when we got to the room, we're on the balcony. I'm like, this is a beautiful view. And before I knew it, I was like, oh, that's a view too. You know, so I'm telling you, just let yourselves...
Make some stories.
Yeah, make some stories. But let yourselves get loose enough to have the foreplay might not be on your bodies. It could be in the conversation. Yeah. There's a book called Communication, Sex, and Money.
Yeah, by Edwin Lewis Cole. We highly recommend that.
Wonderful book. And we used it in ministry many times. Communication, sex, and money.
The three things that impact almost every marriage out there.
Yeah. So the communication and the sex, talk about it. You could be sitting there having conversation that is sexual.
We need to hurry up and get off this podcast. She's getting me fired up.
Yeah. Whoa. But, have the communication and have sexual conversations. Have sexy.
That's a really good point.
Texting each other when you're at work, texting each other with a romantic innuendos and things. So make sure the romance and the foreplay.
Hey, I just pulled another one. This one's interesting.
Go ahead.
I just pulled another one, folks. Here's one that came in. Is it wrong to bring sex toys into our marriage?
We just discussed
Hold on, let me read that one again. Is it wrong to bring sex toys into our marriage? If you're listening to this, would you answer that question down in the comments? Would you give us your answer to that? Because here's ours. The answer is no. N-O.
Okay, so we already covered that, so we're going to move on to the next one.
Okay.
Oh, here's one. He wants sex on days I don't, and I want sex on days he wants sex on days I don't, and I want sex on days he doesn't. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay, so that's called serving your partner.
Amen.
You just have to, in the end, when you serve your partner, you get the results that you want to. Okay, so again, when we went through the dry spells, there were times where Steve was like, you know, let's just do this. And before we're finished, he's like, oh, I feel good too. And I was like, I feel better. So yeah, you guys have to make it happen.
Yeah.
You know,
you need to be having sex, guys.
this is not a movie that it just happens. This is real life. You have to develop that. And you have to develop the habit. Even if you have to schedule it. And then you say, okay, you know what? We've got to heat up the sheets.
If you're not having sex to where you're drenched with perspiration, you're not making it happen. On occasion. I mean, not every single time is like that. You need to have some times when you guys are just really absolutely worn out.
Yeah. Or at least heat up the sheets.
Heat up the sheets.
Here's another thing with your sheets. Okay, let me just say this. The middle of your sheets should be worn out from so much sex, okay? If you are not buying new sheets every year, that means you're not having enough sex. I mean, literally, you should have the middle of your sheets.
Amen to that.
The middle of your sheets should be worn out. And I mean, you could have a bunch of different sheets. Just work on them. You know, I could say that on your sofa too. But, you know, we have leather sofas. So, yeah.
So here's the question for you. If you're out there and you're listening to this, why have you allowed your marriage to become a sexless marriage? Think about that for a second, because just so you know, that is actually abnormal. It should not be that way. It was never designed to be that way.
He's going to like this one. In the beginning, my woman used to wear lingerie to bed. Now she just wears sweats all the time. How can I bring the spice back into our bedroom? Okay, I'm guilty of that. Okay, I always wore pretty lingerie, silky things, and then I went into t-shirts. But they were his t-shirts. So I'm like, don't I look like, you know those actresses in movies where they're just wearing their boyfriend's t-shirt? He's like, no, yeah, you look like you're in my old t-shirt. Yeah. Like, oh, okay. So
I think a gift certificate to maybe Victoria's Secret might be something, or to Frederick's, or maybe you buy that Frederick's catalog. I don't even, are they still around? I don't even know.
Well, but whatever lingerie cars, Cachet's one.
Right, yeah.
You guys can figure it out online, because this is international. Start buying your spouse, and this could go the other way.
And yeah, exactly. So
he used to wear silk boxers.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly. I was going to say that, guys, you need to, why don't you start wearing something sexy as well?
So
right?
It's both ways.
Both ways.
By the way, also take care of your body.
Oh my gosh.
Shave or wax or whatever needs to be, hair that needs to be removed that gets in the way.
They call it manscaping and womanscaping.
Yes, landscaping your body parts, because nobody wants to get caught up in hair. Okay, let's just put it out there. So
and be clean. I mean, one of the things of the personal hygiene, some guys, they don't want to take a shower. Come on, man, you need to take a shower before, take a shower after.
Oh, we already answered that one.
Yeah. Okay. Do I have more? What else? Let's go.
Here.
Okay, I'll read this one. Okay. We have heard of marriage counselors. Oh, hang on. We have heard marriage counselors suggest scheduling sex, but that seems so structured. What are your thoughts?
What are your thoughts? Does that seem too structured to you? We want to hear about the young marrieds who are just going crazy in sex. And then we want to hear about the seasoned marrieds who's
let it go dry.
Yeah. I mean,
let it go dry.
Schedule your sexual time together. You're making pleasure time together. We had to.
There were times, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's okay.
You have to make it important.
Yes, it's okay. Yeah. Everybody wants you to think everything is flowery and wonderful, even in the sexual bed. Sometimes
exactly.
It's not. You have to work on that.
Yeah, you watch sometimes, maybe you'll see something on some of these social media sites, couples, I love you, Debbie. Yeah. You know what? The real deal is this is work, okay?
Yeah.
You have to invest in this area of your marriage and your relationship.
So true. So with that, we've read questions from the box, and if you have any other questions you'd like us to cover, please put them below. And if you feel uncomfortable putting them below, you can send them to Kori at stevenandkori.com, and we will go through those questions with you. And for that, just remember, we in this environment here, in this show, we're building relationships.
Yes, building relationships.
Building transparency so that you guys feel comfortable. You can ask any questions. You need to get to know us, and we need to get to know you too.
Right. And if you're out there and you're looking for a mate or you're wanting to be married, what better way than to get advice from people who've been doing this thing for over 40 years?
What is it that, ask your friends who are looking for a spouse, ask them, would you like to join in on our group here and ask questions about what you're looking for, and also hear experiences of what other people have gone through when they were looking for a spouse.
Exactly.
So it's important to do that because we're all we've got.
Yes.
Now, we're all we've got. The statistics on divorce is high.
Very high.
And if you want to have a successful marriage, you need to be around people who have successful marriages.
Absolutely.
We offer that to you as well as in this community.
Sure. And we're going to be coming at you every week. Every week we're going to be coming at you, and we're looking forward to it. So again, this is our season 1, episode number 1. And if you got value from this, click below. All right. Give us your comments. And so we're going to be signing off here. So
okay, we'll see you back at Get It Together.
Take care.